September 30th. 610 B.C. A total eclipse of the sun, foretold by the skill of Thales, which determined the battle between the Lydians and Medes. 480 B.C. The Carthagenians were overthrown at Gelo by Himera. 480 B.C. The great victory of Themistocles over the Persians at Salamis is also placed upon this day by some authorities. See August 20th. 61 B.C. The great and unrivaled triumph of Pompey, which continued 2 days, for having concluded a war of 30 years, in which he had vanquished, slain and captured 2,183,000 men, sunk or taken 846 ships, reduced under the empire 1538 towers and fortresses, and subdued all the countries between the Otian Lake and the Red Sea. The golden vine of Aristobulus, king of the Jews, a little chapel of pearl consecrated to the Muses, surmounted by a sundial, and 20 kings and princes, with a string of barbaric gods, were among the trophies which preceded the car of the conqueror. 420. Jerome, one of the fathers of the Christian Church, died. He was famous for his eloquence, his virtue and his extensive learning. 788. Abderrahman I, founder of the dynasty of Beni Omega in Spain, died, aged 62. On the defeat of his house in the east, he subdued Spain and founded a dynasty which continued 300 years. 1139. A revolt from King Stephen in favor of the Empress Maud, daughter of Henry I, of England. 1283. David, brother of Llewellyn of Wales, executed by Edward as a traitor. This opened the way for the title of Prince of Wales to the princes of England. 1291. Rodolph I, Emperor of Germany, died. He added Austria, Styria and Carniola to his dominions by conquest. 1400. Owen Glendower erected his standard as Prince of Wales. 1435. Isabella of Bavaria, Queen of France, died. She was a licentious and intriguing woman, who preferred the interests of England to the prosperity of her own country. 1517. Luther maintained his 95 propositions at Wittenberg. 1572. Pope Pius V died. He issued the famous bull, absolving the subjects of Queen Elizabeth from their allegiance, but the Lioness of England heeded not such bellowings. 1628. Fulk Greville, Lord Brooke, assassinated. A literary character of considerable celebrity in the reigns of Elizabeth and James I. 1630. Isaac Johnson, one of the principal founders of the city of Boston, died. He was the first magistrate who died in the colony, and was buried on his own lot. The first burying place in Boston was laid out around his grave. The spot is now built upon, being bounded by Tremont, Cornhill, Court and School streets. 1632. Thomas Allen died, an Englishman, eminent for his knowledge of mathematics and philosophy. 1659. Juan de Palafox, an illustrious Spanish ecclesiastic, died. He was appointed Bishop of Los Angeles in America, where he displayed an admirable character. 1662. A rencontre between the French and Spanish ambassadors, at which many were killed. The contest was precedency. 1682. Colonel Thomas Duncan preferred by the Duke of York to the government of his province of New York in America. 1707. John Reinhold de Palkul, a Livonian gentleman, who resented the oppression his country suffered from the Swedes, was basely broken on the wheel, by order of Charles XII. 1719. Bernard Renaud de Lissaguerre, a French mathematician, died. He obtained a pension for his improvements in the construction of ships. 1747. Thomas Hall died, aged 6 years, 4 feet 6 inches high, and weighing upwards of 7 stone. He died as if of extreme old age. 1761. John Galland died, an eminent English optician and inventor of the achromatic telescope. 1770. George Whitefield, one of the founders of the sect of the Methodists, died at Newburyport, Massachusetts, aged 55. He visited America 7 times, and preached in all parts of the Atlantic states with great power and success. 1775. British ship Rose, Captain Wallis, cannonaded Stonington. The town was considerably injured, 2 persons killed and a loaded schooner and 2 sloops carried off. 1779. Colonel John White, with 6 volunteers and his servant, captured a company of 141 British, posted on the Ogeesh River, and brought them safe to an American post 25 miles distant. He also took 5 vessels, one of 12 and another of 10 guns. The exploit was effected by kindling large fires round the post, and making such other parade as demonstrated a large encampment. 1781. Yorktown invested by the American and French armies under Washington and Rochambeau, assisted by the French fleet under Count d'Estaing. 1789. Nova Castella and several villages in Italy destroyed by an earthquake. 1790. General Harmer with 320 regulars and 1133 militia, defeated the Indians at Miami Village, in Ohio, but with the loss of 141 killed and 31 wounded. The loss of the Indians was estimated at about 100 killed and 300 wigwams burned. They also destroyed 20,000 barrels of corn, and a great quantity of other provisions. 1793. A furious riot occurred at Bristol, England, on the erection of a new toll gate on the bridge. Several persons were killed and wounded by the military. But the tumults were allayed by the Bristolians agreeing to raise the money some other way than by toll. 1795. George Butt, an English prelate and poet, died. 1797. The state road having been completed, the first stage started from Fort Schuyler, Utica, and arrived at Geneva in the afternoon of the 3rd day, with 4 passengers. 1811. Thomas Percy, a learned English prelate, died. Besides his relics of ancient English poetry, a valuable work, he published translations from the Chinese, Icelandic and Hebrew languages. 1824. William Wyndham Sadler, an English runner-out, killed by a fall from his balloon. The accident occurred by the car being driven against the chimney in the descent. He was a skillful chemist and engineer, cut off at the early age of 28. 1826. Joseph Peter Pito Cloriviere, director of the monastery in Georgetown, D.C., died. He was a royalist of France, and the reputed inventor of the infernal machine for which he had to leave his country. 1826. A magazine of powder near Ostend, containing 1,300 barrels, or about 60 tons, exploded, damaging many houses by the concussion, and destroyed several lives. 1830. Independence of the South American republics acknowledged by France. 1849. Silas Jennison, for several years governor of Vermont, died at Chatham, an esteemed and valuable citizen. 1849. Mrs. Morey died in Virginia, an artist, linguist and authoress, known in the United States by her Statesmen of America. 1849. Robert Goldsborough, for many years president of the Medical and Chirurgical Society of Maryland, died at St. Reville.